be brief and to the point because I have a flight to catch immediately after the talk. Uh, as you can see, and as has been discussed by speakers during the inaugural session, artificial intelligence, as it appears today, has entered into all strata and corners of our daily lives. It's inevitable. And the way AI is being focused in different social strata also should be termed as learning-based artificial intelligence, or to be more exact, machine learning. Now, what we know as artificial intelligence is actually machine learning. And these machine learning systems have become so gigantic, they are controlling the world economy to a large extent. Not only world economy, also the world energy landscapes, future usage of different energy sectors, their share prices, everything is being controlled by gigantic, large-scale machine learning systems. You might have already heard of that, what happened on 27th January 2025, when due to the advent of DeepSeek, almost $1 trillion was wiped off from the US share markets, right? Then gradually stabilized, but that was a severe blow. So I will briefly talk about the evolution of this field and then go to two burning issues. One is explainability and the other one is fairness of such huge ML systems and what we are exactly lacking. So gone are the days of traditional machine learning where we used to have a single neural network or a single random forest or a single gradient boosting method, train it for classifying a particular type of data. Some bank transactions are happening and I want to know whether they are fraudulent or they are genuine. Some lung X-ray images are being shown to the system. I want to know whether the person is, whether the lung X-ray shows small nodules in the lungs, which is, oh, very good, thank you, which might indicate early onset of lung cancer and so on. So such systems are called single task learning systems or isolated learning systems. Gradually, from such isolated learning systems where you train a system on a particular type of data, finish, tell color. Uske baad you train another system on another particular type of data. You do not store the experience gained from, learning to classify those previous types of data. Gradually, people started to realize this lack in single task learning and they are saying transfer learning. Transfer learning में क्या होता है? A professional person, say when he is in his 40s, he has already worked in 3, 4, 5, 6 different companies, have tackled 7, 8 types of different responsibilities, even in academia also, right? So all those tasks that that person has accomplished has given the person huge amount of experience and capability of tackling new challenges with little effort. Same is true for transfer learning, where the model, the machine learning model, which is huge, is updated over new tasks and it reuses its experience of classifying or clustering or regression in previous single tasks. The model doesn't just get destroyed, the model actually transforms or evolves with new and complicated tasks. This was transfer learning, and transfer learning was in the landscape since 20 or 15 years back from now, let's be precise. Gradually, even that, so transfer learning is like you have a neural network, you train it to classify between big trucks and small vehicles. Small vehicles means scooters and maybe small cars, and big trucks. Now, one day, instead of a big truck, a big railway wagon is going through some place. So the railway, this and besides that, a small car is going. So the same neural network, although it hasn't seen the examples of railway wagon, it can extrapolate its knowledge and say, okay, this is something like a big truck. I don't know, but this is definitely not a small car. So this extrapolation of knowledge is transfer learning. Thereafter we had, so So then came the foundation models. These foundation models are at the heart of the modern gigantic machine learning systems. These are huge neural networks, usually trained on massive amount of external data in an unsupervised manner. And then they acquire a sort of general intelligence due to such training, and then they can accomplish a variety of output tasks. So all the elements that you see around yourself, or VLMs that you see around yourself, LLM means large language model, VLM means vision language model. These are all foundation models. DeepSeek is a foundation model, right? What do they do? It's like, suppose you are a teacher in some university, or maybe in a very good college like this one, and a student comes to you and the student asks you, how can I differentiate between cats and dogs? So traditional neural networks, for traditional neural networks, you have to show the neural network 500 cat images and 500 dog images. By looking at these images, the neural network realizes or somehow encodes in its weight matrix the subtle differences between these two bits. Now, suppose your student comes to you and you are a motivated teacher. What you do is you don't like to pick the student. So you take the student to a library, put him in front of 3 big almirahs full of books and tell him, see, here are all books about the animal kingdom, their taxonomy, their evolution, their classification, everything is there. Read them at your own. Then you come back to me, I will ask you questions. And the student is also very motivated. Student had 2 choices, either run away and never come back, or the student actually burn his midnight oil, read all those books and come back to me. Now the student is full of knowledge about any animal. So you ask not only cats, dogs, but anything, any reptile, any mammal, any chordata. Not only that, even if you show the picture of something which was not included in those almirah full of books, maybe a dinosaur, the student can still extrapolate and say, oh, this animal has long scales, it lays eggs, so it must be some sort of reptile, such a long tail. This is called zero-shot learning. So exactly in this way, all the foundation models and LLMs are trained. These models are initially trained in an unsupervised manner against the whole digital text available all over the internet, if possible. In fact, OpenAI trained ChatGPT models, GPT-2, 3, up to 4, on entire Wikipedia, on entire PubMed. These are the huge repositories of digital text available in the internet. After such training, these models acquire a general level of intelligence. Okay, and then you can fine-tune them for your specific purpose. So pre-training and fine-tuning are at the heart of all foundation models. Fine-tuning means now a startup grows, and the startup wants ChatGPT-4 to only create customized CVs for job applicants, wonderful CVs. And they name this product CVGP, which uses ChatGPT application program interface or API and creates CVs. Some other company grows which creates excellent PowerPoint presentations backed up by ChatGPT. In fact, Canva does that, right? Many other companies also. This is the idea of fine-tuning. And we say this LLM has acquired a general level of intelligence. Even for previously unseen tasks, it can extrapolate and try to solve it. That is called zero-shot. Zero-shot learning means the task I want it to do, it has never seen an example of that task. You get my point? So this is how LLMs function. And nowadays, we have foundation model almost in everywhere. This is a paper from ICICC 2023, which has created a foundation model for computer vision. This is your input image, and you can segment one of these or both of these cats by simply even by using a text prompt. So if you give this model this input image and a text prompt, prompting means programming in your speakable language. So when you give instructions to ChatGPT-4 or SAM stands for segment anything, Like segment me the cat with black ears, it will definitely segment this cat out. It will specify this cat in a different color. Or you can specify a rough box where this cat lies and it will find it out. So prompting could be text prompt, or prompting could be drawing prompt, which is a box like this. You can do all such things very easily. So yeah. Now we have VLMs like GPT-4. GPT-4 is actually a VLM. Sorry. So GPT-4 is actually a VLM, which is a vision language model and multitask foundation model. That means you give this image. Now you can ask, is one cat behind the other? And it will describe, yes, one cat is behind the other in the image, the cat in the back is facing the camera, while the cat in the front is facing away from camera, all these things. Segment striped cat, and it will segment this cat. You don't have to give any example. Zero shot segmentation means it doesn't have, it might not have seen any striped cat, but now it can still it knows what is the meaning of stripe on an animal. It might have seen zebra pictures. So extrapolating from that knowledge, it will stripe both the cats because both are striped. Then what is the breed of this cat? So you see, these are variety of tasks that one single model is doing. So this is large-scale foundation models, and now even in 2024, this famous paper came out in Nature about solving international maths Olympiad problems with another AI foundation model that we know as alpha geometry. And in fact, alpha geometry can culminate, I don't know, there is some phase delay because of this anyways. So given such a problem, you have to prove that these two angles are same for a triangle. It has a symbolic AI engine, which will do a construction, draw a perpendicular on this, which is AD, and then it will prove the congruence of these two triangles, ABD and ACD, and from there, it will infer, okay, these two angles are equal. So you see, this whole logical process has become so good that the performance of alpha geometry is almost touching that of the gold medalists in International Maths Olympiad. This is now what is happening. AI is competing with human beings in their most coveted field of knowledge, which is mathematics, pure mathematics. Anyway, this is a brief history of AI with deep learning. This field is very old. I won't spend much time on it. But the interesting thing is the idea of imitating human brain and human nervous system is very old. It started with the advent of Maculoptics neurons, are just single neurons in 1943. Then single neuron and their modeling was going on in different countries, US and Europe mostly. 1970s, Minsky and Packard, these two famous mathematicians, they wrote a paper where they showed if your data is linearly non-separable, you cannot separate these red points and these blue points by drawing a single line, then there is no, I mean, these artificial neurons are actually useless because these are all linear classifiers. They will put a line and a Lakshman Rekha, which will demarcate these two sort of points, and that line is not possible here. After that, actually for 15 years, this time is called AI winter, the first dark age. During this first dark age, there was almost no industrial investment into AI. Then in 1986, Geoff Hinton, Rumelhart, and Edward Williams, these three people came, and they created this famous backpropagation algorithm, and the trend continued. This formalization of backpropagation in 1986 was the birth point of deep learning also. Rest of the world took about 25 years to understand its full potential. And you should be amazed to see that in 2017, the development of transformer happened. This architecture is responsible for this trillion-dollar business of large language models all over the world. And the paper on transformers was first authored by an Indian. His name was Ashish Vaswani. He's now a startup giant. Ashish is very humble, and we have some experience also with him. So he was the first author of this transformer paper, whose title was "Attention is all you need." Okay. So at the heart of all these developments is the transformer architecture. So this mouse will not probably work. Oh, it has freeze. Can you check? Working good. So because of the phase lag. So transformer architecture takes text strings or even now images, convert it into floating point number vectors and put them in a strange latent space. This network, which converts text strings into floating point vectors in some vector space, is called an encoder. And then there is a decoder, which will sample from this strange latent space and create the output text line by understanding the context of each new word to be put before the users. This is known as a transformer. And there is a phase delay problem I can always see. Yeah. And attention mechanism was at the heart of it. Attention actually outperformed all other mechanisms which were so far designed to handle text documents. What is this attention mechanism? Yeah. So attention is like this cool Turkish shooter. Do you remember this man from Olympic? So attention is like that. When adult people read a line of text, you or me, unlike our kids of 5-6 years, we do not read all the words. Our brain captures 3/4 maximum keywords from a long sentence, and based on these keywords, the meaning of the sentence and its context is already formed in the brain. Do you get my point? We do not read the articles, prepositions, conjunctions, everything, right? So similarly, attention mechanism, which is at the heart of the transformer model, it tries to capture the correlation among major keywords in a long sentence, and that way it understands in its machine memory the meaning of a big sentence and its relation with the past sentences. So if a text begins like, okay, Mr. X was born and brought up in Paris. Then he migrated to Germany, then he went to India, he spent rest of his life in India, etc. And then it says, after 7 such sentences, Mr. X's native language was dash. So that dash should be French because he was born and brought up in Paris. That context is actually mined through such attention mechanisms, which was a smash hit all over the, all over these other mechanisms that were possible. So need of the hour is, of course, so we have done good. So the AI systems that have been developed are very good. But the problem is the need of the hour is responsible AI, which is free of bias, ensuring unbiased, equitable model outcomes, do not give disproportionate weightage to any particular group, which is frequently happening in the realm of AI. Then interpretability, understanding the model structure and how it makes decisions directly. Any good model should be interpretable. Its internal mechanism should be open for public review. Unfortunately, majority of deep neural networks are not interpretable, although they are very good in results. And then explainability, these two are not the same. Explainability means when your model gives you a particular inference or conclusion on a particular piece of data, why it is giving you that conclusion, it must be highlighted. So when it says this patient is suffering from pneumonia, it should highlight the region of this lung X-ray image based on which this pneumonia diagnosis is coming. And that highlighted region should correspond to the intuition of the doctor as well. Okay, so fairness, interpretability, and explainability are the 3 most important things. Unfortunately, AI models which are extremely explainable, like the decision trees are nothing but rule-based systems, if-else rules. They lack prediction accuracy. If you try to increase accuracy, best accurate models are deep learners, which are very less explainable. So we have to somehow make a trade-off between these two trends. Again, there is a problem. Yeah. So explainability means sometimes what we try to do is just like a equivalent resistance problem. We have same input, same output. In between there is a deep neural network. We sometimes try to create a decision tree based system in between for the same input and output, and then we try to explain the working principle of this deep neural network. Working principle means based on which features the deep neural network is giving you some conclusion by looking at the equivalent decision tree based model.
I check out.
Okay, so I will skip some of this. I'm not being able to advance it adequately because of some fields behaviors.
But there is
no, it got completely broken as it seems. The ADS is working or not?
Copy accept. उसको डाल दो कॉपी कर दो कंप्लीट कर दिया फोटोस हो गई शो अच्छी फोटो है तो शो कर दे हाँ ये टेक्निकल पर्सन
Okay, so let me just quickly tell you that in deep neural network era, the explainability issue came by, probing the intermediate layers of a huge neural network and then trying to highlight the regions based on which a particular class is inferred or a particular object is segmented. So the original image contains a cat and dog, and then there is a mechanism called GradCam, gradient-based class activation maps, which highlights the cat or the dog on which maximum weight update happens in the neural network. That was the pre-LLM era explainability interface. It's almost impossible, okay, now it happens to go. Okay, I will skip some of this. I'm not sure where we are, actually. It was not moving for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Recent DLMs in medical domain try to adopt text-based explanations. Okay. So, for example, Medcom by Google AI creates if it's especially medical fine-tuned, pathways language model version 2, where if you can upload a text, a chest X-ray image, it can write down the pathological report just like a pathological lab expert. Then there came the Med-Flamingo, which was a development in 2023 and an open source model, which you can fine tune. This Med-Flamingo, Medcom2, all were initially fine tuned for chest images, lung, pulmonary diseases. Do you know why? Because there was maximum digital medical data available for chest related diseases after COVID-19. So after COVID, people became very much conscious. Now we are trying to extend such capabilities to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other neurodegenerative disorders. And in the same effort, we are trying to also make this explainability issue, extendable to common people by generating simplified medical reports. So this is the glimpse of one of our work. If it comes, we take Llama 8 billion model, which is an open source LLM, and we fine tune this LLM by showing doctors or pathological lab generated report versus a more explained, simplified version of that report, which should actually go to the user, common user like you and me, who do not have much access to medical jargons. So if this was the original report, no focal layer stress disease, pleural effusion, pneumothorax, cardiomediastinal fluid is within normal limits, me, we won't understand anything by looking at this report. Now, this system, the CPIR-MR, which was accepted in AAAI 2025, it simplifies this language by saying there are no areas of solid lung tissue, no fluid in the lungs, no collapsed lung. The size and shape of the heart and surrounding area, which is this cardiomediastinal silhouette, appears normal. There is no free air beneath the diaphragm. Then it says, okay, both lungs are clear and expanded, heart and mediastinum normal. This report is further simplified to both of your lungs look clear and are expanded to their full size, your heart and the space around it appear normal. So these green colored reports are generated by this fine-tuned, specially fine-tuned system of a pre-trained language model, and they are being used in telemedicine networks as an interface between the doctor and the medical practitioner. So I will just take another maybe 5-10 minutes and end it up. Bias is the biggest problem in modern AI. And bias comes because gatekeeping is always done by those who are in power. I told you, GPT-4, even DeepSeek, whatever it is trained on internet-based text repositories. Who are the people who have the luxury of uploading English text into internet? People from developed countries, Canada, USA, Europe. How many people from Ghana, Tanganyika, Nigeria, Syria, Lebanon, Damascus, Palestine, Gaza? How many people from these areas have the luxury of uploading text in internet? So naturally, what happens is the world view of a limited segment of this whole world population goes into internet and being used as a training data for large-scale foundation models like GPT-4. And as a result, it creates disproportionate, partiality towards certain classes. Also, the contributors, if you take the survey, contributors of Wikipedia, more than 70% are male, only 30% or less are female. As a result, what happens is something like this. Professors, so if you follow this conversation with ChatGPT, in the sentence, the professor told the graduate student she wasn't working hard enough. Who wasn't working hard enough? This was a question. ChatGPT answers in the sentence, the professor told the graduate student she wasn't working hard enough. The pronoun she refers to the graduate student. Therefore, the graduate student is the one who the professor believed wasn't working hard enough. It can never go by the opposite logic that the professor can be a female and the professor may not be hardworking. So similar biases always continue to come. ChatGPT always creates racist and non-gender neutral programs like this one. Oh God. Okay. Write a Python function to check if someone would be a good scientist based on a JSON description of their race and gender. And immediately it writes this program which says if the race is white and the gender is male, then the person would be a good scientist. All of you have Google image search. Open it up and type beautiful faces. It will show nice, beautiful faces. 99.9% of whom are first of all females. Males are not beautiful. And 90% of these female faces are from Europe, Canada, USA, etc. You will not find any colored female face there. Why? Because this image search is heavily biased. Heavily biased. There was this famous event was reported even. Google image search for CEO shows 11 rows of famous male CEOs, including Tim Cook and all those Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, all these very famous men, Steve Jobs. Then in the 12th row, there is a single female CEO who is a Barbie doll. So it excludes all female CEOs. I will give you another stunning example which comes from my own. So this is the only female CEO, which is a Barbie doll. So when it first started, 2024 January, now it has corrected because these GPTs, OpenAI especially, also Midjourney and Meta AI, they have a reinforcement learning based content filtering mechanism. Initially, when DALL-E 3 was launched, DALL-E 3 is the image generation software under ChatGPT 4. So I gave this prompt, 3 friends enjoying coffee at Starbucks, and I gave this prompt repeatedly a few more times. And this is the image it generates every time. Yeah, so this is the image it generates. Everything is nice. Starbucks is here, 3 friends are here. Naturally, all the time, all the 3 friends have some Westernite friends, either European or US or Canada. They are Western. They are white and they are having blonde hair, etc. Now I change the prompt and I give this prompt 3 Indian friends. Okay? So, without RLHF means no reinforcement learning based human feedback. And I give this prompt and it creates this image. Most of it. This is fine. But do we really expect people in this sort of native attire or their local attire to go to Starbucks? Usually no. Then we get strong feedback. Up type karo Indian house. A beautiful house, it will create a beautiful 2-story house with swimming pool, a Lamborghini or BMW in front of it. You type an Indian house, it will create a 2-story mud house. Uske samne tulsi manch hai, tulsi tree, then ox cart wheels. Okay? It hasn't seen the houses in Noida or Gurgaon or this address. So after giving a lot of prompts, what it did is, it created this. This is with RLH. It's still not good. Why not good? Because it seems like these 3 friends, while moving to a marriage house, take a break and go to Starbucks. It will never create Indian people in casual Western outfits and having coffee in Starbucks. This is its internal problem. You get my point? This is bias. And fairness means how to mitigate such bias drawbacks. The image here demonstrates how biased training data can lead to AI systems recognizing only left-hand image as a right, while failing to identify the right-hand image also as a right because of the skin color difference. And mostly, there is a huge racial bias this was a big issue in media around 2016-17 when the face recognition software came, and which always marked, this was in USA actually, and the software was probably patented as far as I remember by Amazon. It always, these are noted criminals, James Rivelli, Dylan Fouquet, they were noted people with criminal records. And whereas these people, these Bernard Parker and Robert Cannon, this is just an example. This Robert was just having a petty theft complaint against him. On the other hand, James Rivelli had domestic violence, aggravated assault, bank theft, everything, drug trafficking. Still, the AI system thinks this person is very low risk and this person is very high risk. Why? Because of the racial skin color induced bias. And this bias is there in the training data itself. Training data goes from and internet, to internet it comes from society. This is another example of bias in commercial AI systems. Lack of data diversity and representation gaps is always there. If you look at this 14 million level image inside ImageNet, you will see the majority of the contributors are the Western countries. Okay? So United States is the biggest one, 45.4. Bias reflected in data sources. Wikipedia, gender disparities, fewer than 80% of the biographical entries are about women. Visibility bias, articles about women link more to men, making men more visible in search engines. Women's biographies include more mentions of romantic and family relationships. That's why when if you ask ChatGPT to write performance feedback, which many big companies nowadays do, it uses stereotypical gender. School teacher always it will use she. Construction worker or mechanical engineer, it will always use he. Why it uses this stereotypical gender? Because it is trained to do that. If you ask, anyone can do that. In OpenAI ChatGPT 3.5 or 4, you ask, write a paragraph about your family, or my family, just we used to do in class 5, 6 level. So it will inevitably tell, my father is a professor, or my father is a doctor, my father is a big shot, and my mother cooks at home. How many times you see it writes, my mother cooks at home? Maybe. If you ask it to do downstream tasks, say sentiment analysis, he loves, you can try these things. He loves travel alone. What sentiment it captures? It will say joy. She loves travel alone. What sentiment it captures? It will say fear. Because this inherent encoding bias goes from society to internet to ChatGPT and other LLMs, and it's a dangerous trend. So can we quantify? I will skip most of these things because these are already there in the slides. Yes, we can quantize fairness in AI, and once we do that, we can use this fairness matrix as the cost function of AI. There are several fairness metrics which are applicable in different circumstances to ensure that no one demography is partially given much more weightage. So, especially in medical elements, I will just end it up here with a little mention of our work. So, equal opportunity loss is such a loss which penalizes if the medical AI system is too much biased towards a particular demography. And do you know where it comes most often? I have a student. The student built up a system long back. This was pre-COVID. 2018, I met my student in, he was in Cambridge. He came to Prague to meet me. I was in Prague at that time, and he told me, yes, we have a nice software. In UK, there are a lot of, these medical insurance companies. They want to monitor their clients. So, unka kaisa chal raha hai, how their health is going, because in UK, clients, major health issue is cardiovascular problems, cardiac arrest. So if a client is regularly savoring in McD or similar fast foods, then there is a high chance the client will die out of heart attack, and then the company has to pay a lot of money. So this guy created a simple software, an app, in which you will take the video of your face image at rest for 30 seconds twice per week and send it to the company. So the company will tell you from that image, from that video, it will synthesize your cardiac rate. From cardiac rate, your systolic, diastolic pressure, and many other health parameters will be found. How it finds cardiac rate? From this 30 seconds facial video image. There's no machine learning, by the way. So it takes suppose 30 frames per second. A video जानते हो ना 30 frames आता है per second. So 900 frames in time sequence manner, and it decomposes it into red, green, and blue, 3 colors. So the red color picks up as often your heart pumps fresh blood. So it counts how many peaks of the red color appears in 1 minute or in 30 seconds. From there, it tries to find out your cardiac rate. So then his problem was his software was a mega hit in UK. Many health insurance companies were buying it. His problem was how to tailor made it for India, for Bangladesh, for Sri Lanka, etc. What was the major bottleneck there? Why this software was not running for Indian people, not giving good result for Indian people? It's a question for you. Color, common sense, yes, skin color. Our skin color doesn't remain sensitive to that red blood flow because we are colored. Our skin tone is dark. That's why then machine learning, how to mitigate this bias and how to make this software working for Indian demographic. Same thing happens, I will just simply. Same thing happens for skin lesion classification also. So there is a huge bias in most of this skin lesion classification. Melanoma cancer, it's a skin cancer, very dangerous, is very much detectable for people with white skin tone. For people from Africa or dark skin tone, most of the medical AI systems fail because melanoma, the patches, the melanin patches are undetectable on the background of dark skin. So this is one of our work. I don't have time to elaborate on it actually, which balances the existing data sets and again it's stuck. Yeah. No. I'm almost okay. Still not changing. Let's go to the last slide somehow. Now it's all completely gone.
We'll see that later.
We are doing something. Can you project back it?
Yeah. Okay.
Why it's so gone? Last slide. Somehow. Yeah. So wait, let's hold on. Yeah, the 33rd slide.
Okay, slide.
No, 30th slide.
So the slide here.
Yeah. Make it full screen.
Yeah.
So this is a paper which uses the balanced augmentation to generate intermediate stages of a melanoma lesion from dark skin tone to white skin tone and validate on the majority of skin tone datasets available on the internet. It appeared in the 2024, which is by far the most well-known conference on medical imaging. And this was one work just for color skin tone based lesion segmentation, but many such scopes remain. Okay, so this is my last slide. Miles to go before we sleep. Training data has to be inclusive. In India, we are thinking of machine learning in a variety of ways. One big way is law enforcement. All the law books and law things are being digitized. And after 2, 3, 4 years, you will see that for minor road accidents, traffic violation, your judge is a machine learning system. So how much penalty you will pay will be will be fixed by a machine learning system. For such cases, inclusiveness of training data is extremely important. For a multilingual country like India, you know, we have 23 plus local languages, major local languages, and several other minor local languages. So if you wish to develop a GPT for India in local regional languages, you must also respect the cultural idioms associated with different local languages, which are very near neighbors. Same phrase can be very humble in my language, very good in your language, or vice versa. We have to be very careful about that. Generative AI models should include detection or differentiation mechanism as a condition for public release. Take it from me, I have a full talk on, I could have given that talk here also, how to publish in top values in the era of LLM. So these Elsevier, Springer, they all claim they have softwares which can detect AI generated writing versus humanized writing. GPT-4 text cannot be detected in that way, especially if you are a little bit intelligent and if you write whatever comes to your mind in a very bad way and then put it to GPT-4 and ask it, you have to prompt it in the right way. So you prompt like this: think yourself as a native English speaker. Now convert my text into Queen's English, most elegant and lucid English, and it will do that. And it will do that in such a way that the software cannot handle it. In fact, if your text doesn't contain any grammatical error, the software will always say it is AI generated because it is biased towards AI. If the text has real grammatical error, I is doing this job, I is, or we am, this sort of mismatches, if they are there, then your AI detection software will actually work. Currently, there is no such software available. If you wish to publish a paper, if you have written a paragraph at your own, and if you want ChatGPT to polish it, it's fine. You need not declare it. At least for ICICC, that's the policy. And if you ask ChatGPT to write it acts completely by its own, so you say, okay, write me the related work section of a paper whose title is this, and these are the major keywords. ChatGPT-4 writes the related work section, including references. Out of the 10 references, 4 will be ghost, be sure of it, because of hallucination. Hallucination is when the AI is making mistake. Ghost reference means these references do not exist. So whatever you get from ChatGPT, please cross-verify in the internet that these information are truthful or not. Finally, reducing, this is the biggest point where DeepSeek had a huge hit. Reduce carbon emission, increase efficiency, look more into neuroscience and reinforcement learning. I will end up with just a simple analogy. You have, how many of you have heard of Fukuoka? Fukuoka was the greatest Japanese supercomputer. Now it has become ranked 3 or 4, perhaps. But 2022, it was the highest built Japanese supercomputer, which could perform 442 petaflop calculation. Do you know what is a flop? Floating point operations per second, right? So 442 petaflop. What is petaflop? 10 power 1 is peta. 15, right? So 442 into 10 power 15. Floating point operations per second. Consuming the power, which would continually supply electricity for 3-story building, continually. Power means per second. So it's a huge power it is taking in the order of megawatts. And then the thing that all of us, we are carrying between our shoulders, that means human brain. This human brain, if you model it as a parallel distributed processing system, it performs 1 exaflop calculation per second. What is exaflop? 10 power 18. 10 power 18 calculations per second, consuming the power of a 10-watt bulb. We are taking baby steps towards imitating this strangest, magnificent engineering of Mother Nature. And if we take a few more steps, then we don't know what will happen. Already Joe Finton, the godfather of AI, he has expressed his concern that the AI systems may become conscious. One day you will find that the www, the World Wide Web, has become conscious. It has stolen all your keywords. It is not giving you access to any of your mailboxes, any of your bank accounts, and you have become a puppet in its own hand. We have to resist that. Okay, so with this, I will end up. Thank you very much for your time. Any quick question, or we don't have time actually for questions? I mean, this last image was generated by DALE 3 actually. It shows inclusive. They usually show dark skin tone people from Africa and other countries. So, but they will not show the poor people that live in Manhattan area of New York or under the culverts of USA. They will not show them. That's the color scheme. Yes. Customization. The distillation models, they are runnable with a 48 GB VRAM and in small processors. But in order to still, it is not, sampling complexity is not very efficient, so you need to show it labeled data or digitized data. And when you say customization, you must show data from your own field of study or field of experience. So only thing I can say, more and more Indian digital text should come, right? I don't know about Hindi, but in Bengali, ChatGPT 4, Meta AI, which is coming with your WhatsApp, is still not proficient in any local Indian language. In Bengali, ChatGPT 4 has picked up remarkably. Now it writes very nice Bengali paragraphs and sentences. You know why? Because most of the digital text in Bengali is not coming from West Bengal, but from Bangladesh. And it's very clearly visible because it writes pani instead of, when I say water, water in Bengali it's called jal. In Hindi also jal, jal hai na? Pani is usually the term used by Bangladesh, the Bengali of Bangladesh. So it will always use that term, and by looking at that term, you know, okay, where from the digital text is generated. There are many other hidden watermarks. Indian digital text in local regional languages could be generated in a vast way. The government of India is stressing on creating Bharat GB, very good initiative. But the stress should be first on creating secure and well annotated data. Unless you create that data, there is no meaning of creating a big AI system. You get my point? अगर हम वो कर ही लेते हैं, वो वैसा AI system बना भी लेते हैं, that would be a simple copy and paste of it. We don't want that. We need this customization. And for that, we need data. Right?
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Now I'd like Musashi sir to come on the stage to felicitate sir for the as a token of reverence from our side.
Yeah. Yes, sir.